The pDAI narrative is going blitz mode right now, baby dolls. I do have a return of the pegged nipples. I'm going to explain to you what's going on. There's controversy. On one hand, the Fotis is saying there's infinite minting going on. On the other hand, if you dive deeper, we have pages like this which show you a system surplus or deficit and the PulseMaker collateral system basically paying itself off, with a person paying it off being receiving pDAI rewards. Okay, but that's what's happening here. So that's what's happening, friends. In a nutshell, rewards are going to one wallet and people are thinking, oh, they're making infinite rewards. Look, before we even go through, and I'm going to explain to you everything, and just we're going to go through what's going on. This is the pDAI chart. There will be more charts I'm going to show to you right now. So this was the first big dip. It dropped 99%. This is a 94% drop, 90% drop. Here is an 89% drop. Okay, so it's number 4. So if you think this time is different, you are a player who is going to avoid this. You'll be selling these lows if you believe this time is different. I've been buying. Okay, and if it goes down even lower, I'll buy even more. All right. I've had to do ratio rotations because I'm literally all out of fiat. I was buying in, friends. I was even buying higher because we got the clip finance rotation, the clawback back in. So that chart has been extraordinarily powerful so far. But let me go explain to you what's going on. Okay, so what's going on in the narrative? Well, the PulseChain system is going to start burning pDAI. Now, when you see it, like, what? What's going on? I know. Welcome, friends. Welcome. I'll show you. Look, right now, PulseMaker thinks there is a deficit of 115 million pDAI, which it will mint pMaker tokens to cover and start buying back this 115 million pDAI. So you can go to a website, friends, called pulsemaker.win/account. Now, this is the wallet. PulseMaker. Oh my gosh, it's gone up again, friends. Here's 124 million. You see that? From my screenshot, see right here. It's by the time this video comes out as well, maybe it's even higher. Okay, so it was 115 million. Now it's 124 million. 24 million pDAI, right? Now, even interesting, it tells you total pDAI 26 billion. It's cool you have this information here. Okay, so pulsemaker.win/account. That's right here. Look at this. It's actually been going up. Yeah. So remember, now here's the thing, right? So the pMaker tokens, now remember, there is a pMaker out here. Yeah, so it's not going to be sold when they make them. Okay, so this is what the confusing part is. So people initially thought, so if you go to Maker on PulseChain, see how there's a bid, it's liquidity 125K. So if you divide it by 2, it's like 60K bid. Okay, 60K bid. So if you look at it, I was thinking, well, that 60K bid, that's not enough to like buy up all that pDAI and stuff like here. That's nothing, right? And by the way, you send Maker to 0, but no. So it doesn't actually get converted into pDAI. It doesn't sell the pMaker and buy the pDAI. It does not do that. Instead, can explain here, it will get converted into the pRV maker. Okay, so I know it's quite confusing, but that's what happens, man. So you have pMaker gets minted. This is how Maker DAO works, right? If the peg is below, so if it's below $1, you can mint tokens to make it go back up. Okay, and also that's why if it's above $1, you have incentives pretty much to sell the pDAI down, and this is how the eDAI works, right? To get it back to $1. I think what they do is they toggle the interest rate as well on that. I forgot how it works. You know, the mechanism. We went through so many of these. Now, remember, pMaker gets converted into pRV maker. I know there's these different terms out here, man. This is confusing a bit. I know, but hey, we'll just go through it. You'll see. So what ends up happening is it gets used for a flash loan to clean up the bad debts. So the maker gets minted and it takes a loan from RV to buy the pDAI. Okay, so it gets the mints maker. Now, it could, like I said, it could just go dump it and take the pDAI, but it's not going to do that. Okay, it's not enough liquidity. So what it does is it goes into the PulseChain RV protocol. It deposits that in there, and now you've got a credit. Yeah, you can withdraw and pay off the debt. Okay, so the supply of the extra maker token, it's not going to be hanging around out there to get dumped on and traded on, yeah? It's going to get stored in Aave, the PulseChain Aave protocol. Now remember friends, Aave is a money market. So it has the supplies. You can supply different tokens on there, you know, and they have their own different interest rates there. And I know you're you're thinking about it. It's like, man, there's a couple of things moving and stuff out here. But like, oh, look, let's pause it right here. After hearing that, at least you get to see that. Remember, I start off by telling you, the Fotis are saying infinite minting. But now you have how MakerDAO works. So now you can see the PulseMaker DAO. It's a fork of it, right? It's the same thing. Now you get to see how that works. So as time goes on, I believe, so the market, if it figures out in time, which it will, oh, it's not infinite minting, it's actually part of the process. So that's what happens is every day comes out that it's not infinite minting, the price will adjust back up. Okay, but it is on a big deep dip, isn't it? So you're wondering how much will it adjust up? Well, obviously we don't know, friends, but you know, sometimes it's like, you know, it hangs around up here, might pop up a bit, just like I did here, just like I did there. Maybe a double bottom of sorts. You don't know, okay? But that's what happens, okay? As the market like basically gets confident that, oh, it's not infinite minting or the FUD isn't real, it dissipates, it progresses. Now I have a comment here from my Habibi Albi, Akasimi. It removes bad debts from the system and gets rewarded for doing so. The reward is a certain amount of digital coins, pDAI, which it then sells. Isn't this a perpetual dumper then? So there's a question from him. I said to you, no. Remember the reward, friends, there's a fixed amount of bad debt. I think the number was like 1.1 billion. Don't quote me. I don't know the real numbers, okay? I heard it was like 1.1 billion. So if you help pay it off, right, you get rewarded, I think 250 million pDAI, which I think it has been selling off. I think it's been doing it. Don't quote me on the numbers. That's pretty much how it works, right? There is a limit to the reward. So people are out there saying, oh, they're still minting. He's still got something to sell. Only the believers will make it, right? So what's going on, friends? Well, the PulseChain Maker System currently has the bad debts, right? Carried on from the fork. A new special piggy bank called Wallet 5996 has come in to clean up the bad debts. So there's bad debts. Now there's like, hey, a special piggy bank comes in. Hey, I'm going to clean up these bad debts. So what it does is, right, when it cleans it, it receives pDAI as a reward and it sells it off. The whole system, friends, so to accommodate for this, there is a stockpile. There's a surplus. Okay. Do you remember how I showed you this number here? This was the surplus. This number used to be in a positive amount. That means there's excess surplus there. And that's what it was being used to pretty much, I guess, pay out that bad debt guy. So now that surplus, it was positive. It starts shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Now it's actually in a deficit. It went from positive, whatever, 100 million. Now it's up to negative minus 125 million, right? pDAI. When the system runs into a deficit, the system starts minting a new coin, pMaker, which can be sold off and clear the debts. All right, interesting. So that's why the system's like, hey, we're in a deficit of pDAI. Okay. We're in a deficit and we're begging for a picking. There's not enough pDAI in the system, so the maker system says, oh, you're under collateralized. There's not enough pDAI. So he goes, oh, we've got an emergency restore function here to make up for the pDAI. We'll give you the ability to mint the maker tokens as we went through, and that can restore it for you. All right, so you can mint MakerDAO tokens, Maker. And that's why I explained to you just earlier. That's why I said to you first, it doesn't get dumped. They'll take that and put it into Aave. All right. Now, honestly, I forget how it works more intricately after that point. I'm like, there's the balancer pools that use flash loans, but it starts, you can go through it, but it fries people's brains, right? So look, this is obviously us when the red candles are here and us when the green candles are here. Now, what's the net effect of all these? Now, this is where it really comes home, okay? The net effect is, pDAI becomes more rare as it gets burned. All right. pMaker gets minted more for the system, right? But it doesn't get sold in that liquidity pool. It gets put into pRV. And the goal is for more pMaker tokens to get put into circulation so people can vote on rules and changes. Okay, now honestly, I didn't fully understand it. Vote on what? I guess we'll see later on. So what comes next? And I've just got this post part here from NineIronCapital. There is a 6.5 day auction time and there's 4 days left. Every time a new vault gets reset, the 6.5 days timer starts, and the current one of 115 million pDAI beginning now. There's actually even more than that, right? So when it's over, the number of pDAI deficit should reach multiple billions. The pMaker tokens get minted until the billions of pDAI are burned. pMaker won't get sold. There's only 50k liquidity, but instead converted into pRV Maker and used for balancer flash pools. The flash loans are set up and ready to take advantage of this. pDAI buying will start and it will continue until the pDAI is repaid. Note that this process is written into MakerDAO system so that the pDAI peg can be defended. Okay. Now, when you see flash loan cycle, we've taken it to ChatGPT, right? To let's use AI to basically summarize it for us because we got peanut brains, right? So the key mechanic is a flash loan cycle as explained by ChatGPT. The flash loan buys pMaker using the borrowed pDAI in the flash loan. Remember, so friends, a flash loan is you borrow someone's money, but in the same block, you've got to return it. You can only do it in crypto, right? So you borrow their money for a fee, you do it in a transaction and instantaneously you return back their money. That's why the flash loan, it's used basically to do like, you know, very fast arbitrage stuff and things out here because you return back the money out here, right? So remember, they buy pMaker using the borrowed pDAI. So there's pDAI out there, they borrow from it, and then they buy pMaker. The pMaker is collateral in pRV, which loops. Because the same wallets control the pools, they can manipulate liquidity flows to ensure that instead of suppressing the price, like a typical limit down liquidation, they create a demand feedback loop that drives it higher. Now, when I read this, I want to use an example here for you so you understand what on earth is going on. So, see this, friends, PulseX. You know how PulseX has a buy and burn? Let's actually check it out now. I'll do an example. Let's go to this chart here. So PulseX, friends, has a buy and burn, yeah? But there are actually, so what actually happens, right? When you do a trade on PulseX, there is a fee, yeah? At 0.24% of the fee, yeah? That's for V1, okay? So it doesn't matter. The fee collects, so fee, trade fee is collected. Right, and there you go. Okay, 0.24% right here. Now, I've written here $50,000 because I think that's about what we do in PulseX. I think it's about $50,000 a day. Okay, it's collected. Now, in that fee, friends, you can actually, Richard Hart could have done one of two things. Okay, so he could have done the path up here, right, where, so the one, what was the one we chose? He chose the buy and burn. All right. And there will be a fire emoji here for the buy and burn friendship. So the buy and burn, what it does is, okay, it goes to the market, buys on the offer, hitting it up. All right. That's what it does. And then throws the PLSX away. Okay. That's what it's actually doing out here. And that's why if you go to the PulseChain website, GoPulse website, for example, friends, you can see PulseX, right? It's now bought and burned 6.61%. Yep, 6.61%. So that's how much it's been of the supply. And you see how it's bought and burned 1.31 trillion tokens of PulseX. Yes? And you can actually change that to the USD price, $39 million. Wow. It's actually bought, friends. That's crazy. So all the trading on PulseChain has amounted on for PulseX, right? $39 million of buy and burn pressure has gone through. And as PulseX goes up, it's worth more then because you've been throwing it away. It's getting scarce. Now, that was the path that Richard chose, right? He chose the buy and burn, yeah, with the fees. See that $50,000? Basically, that $50,000 of purchasing power it has gone to buying and burning. However, there is another alternative he could have done. He could have done, friends, like basically a reward stake. So he could have done a stakers pool for PulseX. Yeah, it will go into a pool, a pool. Supply rises every day, and then people will collect the PulseX and hit down on the bid. Okay, this is what they would do, right? You see that. So as I explained just there, the alternative. So remember that $50,000. Yeah, Richard could have, in another world, he could have said, okay, there's going to be a pool on the PulseX website that accumulates the fees of PulseX token, and then that will basically get distributed every day to everybody staking, and your supply goes up, right? So the supply of the token just goes up into the hands of everyone there holding. He could have done that. Now, what this would have done is it rewards people staking, but they would get the reward and they would sell. Okay, so in the buy and burn, this forces the buy part. So remember, friends, you have if you look at any market book, right? Here's the price here. Okay, there are bids. Okay, there are bids, and then there are offers. Okay, these are offers on the way up. Okay, if you hit the bid, what you've done is if you hit the bid, you are hitting it down. Because someone's left a bid, if you hit down into them, you sell into them, right? They buy, but you've done the action. You've sold, yeah? There is the other way as well. If you hit the offer, you are making the price go up. So in the liquidity pool, right, there's things on offer. If you hit into that, right, their limit order has been filled pretty much, and they've exchanged tokens, but you're hitting the price. You make the market price move up. You move the market, right? So the PulseX buy and burn is the hitting the offer part. Yeah. If he wanted to do the staking PulseX part, he would have been doing that. Okay. He would have been causing that. That's why he didn't do it. Because he knows everybody collects the PulseX and they just go dump it in the thing. Now, here's the thing. Maybe the net effect of pressure. I mean, it's better to do the buy and burn because it's forced holding. It's forced long-term committed. So nobody can wake up one day with a lot of the tokens accumulated from staking and like dump the yield. That's what is happening, right? Now, in pDAI, with what's going on, what I've explained to you, see our PulseX, there's a reward function, yeah, and it could go to hitting it up, or it could sit there, get distributed out, and people sell. So I think with this flash loan arbitrage, the principle of pDAI, it's similar. So that's why I've drawn here. The one that Richard Hart chose is demand driving. So it hits the offer up. The alternative is that it's supply driving, where it's hitting the bid down. And I think with this pDAI, the flash loan stuff and everything getting set up, it's the demand helping part. Now, obviously, I don't know the exact inner quirks of how things work, but I'm guessing you can think about similar philosophies like make a DAO system where if people borrow against it and they pay an interest rate, whatever they're paying in, imagine that system could then like take the fee, and instead of like paying people in Make a DAO tokens to buy and burn that, I think that's what it actually does. Imagine you go and buy pDAI. You would go and buy the eDAI. Obviously, they don't do it because eDAI is already $1. It would be almost like something like that. We're just basically setting it up so that liquidations and fees and whatever is basically driving the supply to be burned over time after people buy it, which is exactly what you want for a bullish narrative. So like even ChatGPT, the same wallets control these pools. They can manipulate liquidity flows to ensure that instead of suppressing the market price like a typical liquidation, they create a demand feedback loop that drives price higher. So I guess like if you're getting liquidated, the market price, like let's say on an exchange, they will drag your bid, your offer down, and it will drag down, and it'll like hits market down, and it basically sends the market down. But I guess what he's trying to do here is just some sort of other mechanic, so it doesn't, I guess, hit the market down. Maybe it stays on the offer until people just keep chewing it up over time. It never actually clobbers it down. It might be something like that, but we'll continue. More information as well as we go, friends. So This is from Mr. NineIronCapital's post already as well. So the pMaker deficit facilitates the need to mint pMaker. It will allow the owners of the pools to use flash loans to clean up the bad debts. The only people on PulseChain that can do this are people that own 100% of the derivative lending pools. And he explains here, the PA maker, the PulseChain Aave maker, when you see the A there, Aave, will become a growing asset in pAave, which the balancer will be able to use flash loans to buy pDAI, commit it to the auctions, repay the maker and Aave, and lend against that to repay the pDAI. This will all happen within a single block and can be repeated. So I guess they're flash loans happening over and over. Now I've got some great info from Mr. Fotis. A higher debt ceiling does not mean free money. A higher debt ceiling does not drain or allow for exploiting DAI. Rather, it lets users deposit collateral and mint DAI, but only if they put up sufficient collateral. Example, $150 worth of ETH to mint $100 of DAI. Bad debts stings, but it's needed. Clearing bad debt is not always necessarily bad for the chart. It's a normal part of how DAI works. But the impact depends on the method chosen. I'll spare you the details. In this case, yes, it brings the price down since we lack the surplus. However, it could be bullish if Richard Hart, clearing the bad debt is essential to eliminate unbacked liabilities. Raising the debt ceiling then provides headroom so new vaults can open, adding fresh collateral and minting new pDAI. Neither step by itself forces a price dump. In fact, repairing the system's solvency is often stabilizing or bullish for the DAI price because it demonstrates collateral behind the token and a functioning protocol. And we have it here right now. Bad debt came with the pMaker DAO system because of forked balances, chain splits, and or block reorganization. Also, just to make a point, even if the bad debt is raised infinitely, it will not allow infinite minting of pDAI for free. The only way someone could mint unlimited pDAI for free would be if governance parameters were completely disabled, so that would require a takeover by a bad actor. And he continues. Anyway, the main takeaway is debt ceiling raised doesn't mean in the slightest that people can mint or drain pDAI. It always requires over collateralization by default, okay? There are other parameters to keep track of if you want to audit malicious activity. If the parameters are good, they can raise in ceiling simply means people can provide more collateral in return for DAI, okay? The paid out pDAI is an incentive to reward clearing up the debt, otherwise nobody would do it. It happens on the Ethereum side all the time as well. Only difference is that the market instantly corrects any depeg by arbing because it has enough confidence to assume the $1. Awesome. Bad debt came from forking the protocol, etc. So there you go. And now shout out to my friend BraatHex. So BraatHex has asked a question and NineIronCapital replies. So I think this is interesting just so you get an understanding. He goes, thanks. I'm trying to understand. The flash loan is taken out in balancer and buys $100 of pDAI. Then uses the $100 of pDAI in the auction and gets $110 of maker. Seems like a $10 arbitrage. Could this vary? Put the $110 maker into Aave and loan $100 pDAI against it with a % collateral ratio. Then repay the $100 flash loan to balancer and repeat, so the amount of maker would increase as it buys. How would the pDAI decrease if the flash loan from balancer is $100 and repaid $100 in the same transaction? Mr. 99 replies, pDAI is burnt by maker in order to receive the minted pMaker. So when you leverage the $110 of maker, you need to buy $100 of pDAI out of a liquidity pool to return it to BBA DAI. And then BraatHex replies again, this is cool. So you burn the pDAI and get the maker and then use that as a leverage to buy pDAI in the liquidity pool. So since the original pDAI was burned, it is gone. And the pDAI you buy results in less pDAI in the liquidity pool, which should lead to higher prices. If you have time for one last question, does the leverage maker have to be repaid? I assume that would be a result and to be burned, might be offy. So yeah, it's just interesting how everyone's working out their own way to figure it out. Also, thank you to Aaron, friends. Aaron just literally, he went to Grok, hey, Is this bullish or bearish for pDAI? That's actually funny, man. AI, we're just getting AI to be like, hey, is this bullish or bearish? And then what does Grok says? Based on the information in the post, the situation appears bullish for pDAI in the short to medium term. Why? Number one, this is interesting. Burning pDAI and minting Maker. The PulseChain Maker system is burning pDAI to cover the deficit, which reduces the supply of pDAI in circulation. A decrease in supply coupled with consistent or increasing demand typically drives prices upwards. 2. A demand feedback loop. The post describes a flash loan cycle. So it's a demand feedback loop. Yeah, so it cuts off there. Pretty good. So now that you've covered all the information, friends, look, still, I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm looking at this. This is the price chart. I've actually got the real one as well. Once again, we're like this fork in the crossroads, right? All over again happening. This is the pDAI to PLS ratio chart. The first one is a 99.98% drop, then 94, then 77. This one was also 77, right? It also dropped 77. It's right back here. Interesting, right? You know what's interesting? I just noticed it did this last time. It flipped red on the weekly super trend and then it bounced back up and did that. So it's done this, flipped red on the weekly super trend. I wonder if it's gonna do like, yeah, boop. That'd be funny if it does that. Oh my gosh, that'd be funny. So like, and that's the pulse ratio. If you just want to look at the USD price chart, that's it. Is my famous chart, friends. The Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII, Cloud Sword, the pitchfork. Yeah, here you have the dips. Big dip 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have appropriately labeled them 1, 2, 3, 4, just so you can see here we are right now. So look, you can do what you want. I do not care what anyone does. I've processed the information. I've looked at it. Lottery ticket worthy for me. I would like if I had $2 spare, I would personally me. You can do what you want, okay? So if you lose more than $2 on this, okay, that's it, right? Lottery ticket. Precisely why? Because the upside, if this thing works, the upside from here to $1 is like 165x. So if you have $1, upside $165, downside you lose $1. Wild. Begging for a pegging, huh? So all of these friends. Begging for a pegging, huh? Now you know the story continues. There's always this FUD stuff that comes out, friends. And like why I'm not sweating with any of these, because this one came exactly on the blood moon, which we've been talking about for 6 months. You know, like to the day. Like let's bring out the daily chart. Let's literally bring out the daily chart, friends. Could you believe, like literally to the day, friends? He's literally, oh my gosh. This is exactly March 14th. Can you believe it? Yeah, look at this. We go down, we go down, go down, go down. March 14th. Hey, infinite bug right here, guys. There's infinite FUD. Never gonna work. It's stupid. What are the chances, man? Like literally on this day. This is a date. Like, can you believe it? This is literally March 14th right here. That was it. So that's why, like, I was like, man, that's why, friends. If you don't even look, maybe I'm starting to get it now. I'm starting to get why the billionaires, they really do follow this astrology, because they're like, oh, everyone's gonna go nuts on this time, and then things go nuts, and then the FUD narrative appears, and they go, oh, it's just because the people are getting spooked by the moon cycle stuff, you know, or the blood moon, whatever. They're just getting it's astrology. Yeah, the crowd's gonna go nuts here. That's it. But then there's a new moon that comes and refreshes it away. I think we're starting to get it, right? That's why, this is probably why. See, what I've noticed, friends, okay, esoteric knowledge. I've noticed in every coin I'm in, every asset I'm in, when the news goes down on big numbers, the FUD is really compelling every time. It's your weak point. It's the one thing you don't want it to be about. It's always your worst nightmare. Yeah. Like look at Richard Hart, we got the SEC attack. Yeah. The FUD's always that. Always. What about Binance? The FUD is the Ponzi thing and everything on. Like everyone comes for the worst. It's like we are all linked up as a satellite to the cloud, the market knows what our weak point is. It's like, oh, I know what's going to make you sweat, and the price goes down with it. And like, hey, do you want it or not? It's interesting. It's interesting. That's why. What was pDAI's one? pDAI, friends. What was everyone's worst nightmare? A wallet appears and just starts getting supply from nowhere, like an infinite minting bug. Whoa, you know, that's it. That's pretty much it. Okay. But I know it's hard to deal with this, because you might say, Sony, what about the worst nightmare being Richard Hart makes a 4-page essay about, hey, pDAI is fake, get off it, don't use it, like, you know what I mean? But that's why it's hard to balance these. It has, but that's when you're in the game long enough, you're like, oh, I believe in this thing, and then so if you can predict the spooky news coming out, you're like, oh, I guess it must be FUD that we're just going to go through. That's how I interpret it. So if it goes to 0, it's your fault. I don't really care. I do love and appreciate you, though. Makes you think, though, right? If PulseChain can see better days ahead, pDAI, friends, is still like 20x to 10 cents. I want it to go to $1. Let's see how this amazing thing starts working out, huh? You know, even checking out right now, that PulseMaker Win account website, the supply, man, it's going more and more in deficit. It needs to cover and buy more and more as it goes up over time. It's 125 million pDAI now. That'd be great if that's wild. If it hits 1 billion pDAI plus, that means it has to buy 1 billion pDAI from a liquidity pool out there to operate. Wow. Very interesting. Maybe that's how it works. If it needs to buy from the flash loans and the pDAI, is Richard Hart, if everyone starts using the forked protocols, the fees generated on them, do they go and buy the pDAI? Because that's what the system is doing. Oh, it's in a deficit, so we have to go buy that much pDAI off the... Wow, this works. But hey, I'm literally wearing a begging for a pagan hat on the internet. Mud flaps. What do you think? I like the prices are cheap to me, so you can do what you want, friends. Like, subscribe, belly button, or catch you soon.